So they stop there. They violently take Boniface out first. They increase the volume of their radio, and they were playing gospel music. So they increased it to the maximum. At first, I didn't know why, but a few minutes later, I heard Boniface screaming.
Hello, you're watching Channel Africa Conversations. I'm Peter Ndoro. Now, today we speak with Agather Atuhaire, a Ugandan lawyer, journalist, and human rights defender who was recognized by the EU Human Rights Defenders, getting an award in 2023, and the US International Women of Courage Award in 2024. This for exposing corruption and standing up for the vulnerable. We've been talking to her about her life's work and her life story. And in this, the third part of the series, we focus on the harrowing story of her abduction by Tanzanian authorities, where she faced days of torture and sexual assault.
In that moment, I'm feeling, I thought this moment would come because in Uganda, people are abducted all the time in what has come to be known as drones. These are like vans where they abduct people in.
Right.
So I had always thought that day would come for me. I just didn't know it would come in Tanzania. That was so for me. I'm just dealing with shock all through. We didn't even do anything. If it was in Uganda where there's a politician that has a bone to pick with me, I can understand. But here, so we are driven off. I estimated we could have driven for 30 to 45 minutes. So in those minutes, first it is that panic, it's that despair, it's that I was frightened. Then there's this acceptance that came over me of, well, there's nothing you can do. The day has come, it has come, and there's nothing you can do, and there's no way out. You might just as well start preparing yourself for what is going to happen. So that's when the panic sort of eased a bit, and then I was feeling like, at first I was feeling like I hope we don't get where they are taking us. Then later...
Were they speaking to you at all, or were they just quiet at this stage?
They first spoke to us. They tried to speak to me as soon as we entered, I think, asking me what I came to Tanzania to do. And Boniface told them that I don't speak Swahili. And they said, so someone who doesn't speak Swahili, why do you come to Tanzania? Yeah. So now they ask me in English. The lady spoke a bit of English. And so, what are you doing in Tanzania? I said, I came to visit. And she sarcastically says, welcome, and they all laugh. And then you could tell they are very heartless people, and that's their job, really, to violence and brutality is what they do. So I had already gotten a sense that these are not people that you can have a conversation with. That's when I thought that, yeah, it's over. It's really, really over. Like, it's not that you can even ask them what they want you to tell them or nothing. They hadn't come for any conversation or eliciting any information.
And then what happened?
And then at some point I started to think, I hope we just get there and get this over with, because this psychological torture alone of what is going to happen. Then it stops somewhere. The car stops. For me, I thought we hadn't veered off the road. Like it kept feeling like we were still on the road, maybe under a bridge in the middle of the road. That's what it felt like. So they stopped there. They violently take Boniface out first. They increased the volume of their radio, and they were playing gospel music. So they increased it to the maximum. At first, I didn't know why, but a few minutes later, I heard Boniface screaming. And that's when I knew that that's why they had increased the volume. They had left me with the woman. So the woman comes and increases the volume, but I could still hear screaming.
Wow.
So what happened then was that, yeah, I was scared. The levels of being scared were getting higher and higher. So after about 15 minutes, they come for me and order me to get out of the car. And I don't know how to get out because I am blindfolded. So when I'm still visiting and someone pulls me out very forcefully, I fall into another guy and they walk me just a few steps and they order me to take off my clothes.
Wow.
Now I was scared. So now the earlier scared, forget it. Of now, I can't even explain that feeling. So I hesitated, and that's when I was hit first by something on my back. So one of them hit me on the back and shouted that I shouldn't waste their time. But another violently takes off my clothes as wearing a jumper that is like tight around my neck, so it was hard to get it out of my head. But like just violently takes it off, takes off my jeans that were very tight also, and they just with a lot of force take everything off. My bra, my knickers, and so now I'm still blindfolded and standing naked. And I don't know, it was before how many men and what they would do. So they tie they put my sweater around my wrists, and on top of my sweater, they put handcuffs. And they tie also my legs together. Now there, I don't know with what. So now they put me on, I think, like a piece of wood that I think maybe two of them carried, and they carried me facing down. I don't know if you have seen a boat going to be slaughtered, how it is.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how they tied me, and I think two people held the thing, so I was suspended in the air. So immediately after that, they brought something that I think felt like lubricant and poured it around my genitalia, and then so it felt like there was one guy who was hitting under the soles of my feet with something, the flat surface. And then there was another who was using, I didn't know what it was, but I later saw that it is a fist to shove it into my rectum.
Oh dear.
Now, both were painful. The hitting of the feet would send pain around here, like in your brain. It was so painful. The shoving of whatever they were shoving into my anus would the pain is indescribable. No one can describe it. I have given birth to two children, and I always bragged that ever since I gave birth, no one can tell me that there's pain I cannot handle, and I didn't know pain. So that pain was too much. I was screaming. When I screamed, they brought something and tied it around my mouth,
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
went on, and they went on and went on. And at some point, I felt like I was about to faint. I thought I was going to lose consciousness. Like just blackout out of the pain. So they probably also thought so and stopped. So they stopped and put me down and pour water on my body, and then I felt someone pass a hand all over my body up to my private parts and say something like "Eco fresh," that was in Swahili, but saying she's so fresh or something like that. So they take off the handcuffs from me and also forcefully pull out that that wood that they had used it to join my arms and legs so forcefully that the pain on my arms stayed with me for a long time. And now the one holds my hand and moves me a few steps and takes off my blindfold. And all along I thought, well, like in a very dark place. But when they took off my blindfold, the lights were blinding. So this is when I see that it's about 5 men standing before me. These are the same men that we left with. I had thought they found other men there, but these are the men we had left with the station. So there's one, a very light-skinned guy who seemed to be the leader of that gang. So he asks me to look at the direction of some phone cameras, apparently recording of his colleagues. And then he says, I'm going to ask you questions, answer them as you're looking here. I am still naked, like completely naked. His right hand was wearing a white glove. So he asks me why I was in Tanzania. I tell him because I believe in the truth so much. I always tell people, for me, as long as I'm not committing any illegal act, I'm not going to lie about what I'm doing. So I say, I came to attend the trial of Tundes. Who are you working with? I said, well, I'm not working with per se, but there are people that we share information about these activities, and some of them were the massacres that were detained. And that wasn't the first time Martha Karua was being in Tanzania for Tundu Lissu's trial. That's why they could know that that's what is bringing her and send her back. So I said, yeah, so we are a group of comrades from Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And so they asked, do you have children? How many children? And then they said, I don't remember if that's the point where they said never come to Tanzania again, or this comes later. So the guy tells me to turn around. But at this time, they are polite. They are not rude.
Right.
The change in the tone and mood was very strange. So he tells me to turn around, face the wall, because I had been put to stand against the wall. Turn around, face the wall, and he shoves that fist that was wearing a glove in my anus again. This time so deep. So I think with all his might.
Oh dear.
That pain, that pain, no one can even describe it. Even now, I cannot describe how it felt then, but I just felt like I had never felt this pain like that. So he turns me around, leads me by the hand. Now they blindfold me again. leads me by the hand at a distance, and because you know he shoved this hand so deep, he came out with shit that is smeared all over me.
Wow.
And all that was being recorded apparently. I don't know, that's what I was told. So he leads me by the hand, and we walk a few steps. And then he gets water and pours it all over me, and he's cleaning me basically. And then he says, now put on your clothes. This guy that had inflicted unimaginable pain to me dressed me up like how you dress up a baby. So he would bring one cloth of mine, and I reach my hand to get it because I'm not even seeing where he is. He would just aid me to put it on, from the knicker to the trousers. Now he came to the bra and he couldn't hook it, so I told him I can actually do it. So after I hooked my bra, I thought this guy now should realize that I can dress myself up. But he still brings my blouse and helps me put it on. He asks me if I want to wear my sweater. I tell him yes. I stretch my hand to get it. He still now comes and puts it on me. And so he tells me to sit down. I sit down on the floor. The floor was a dusty floor. Felt like the floor of a construction site. Dusty, rough. So because by this time I'm not wearing shoes, with all that pain in my feet, I am feeling the roughness of that floor because I'm feeling so much pain. My feet can barely stand. I can barely step on that ground. So he tells me to sit down. I sit down, and someone asks what the next stage is, and they say, I think asking questions. So this person comes, squats next to me and starts asking me questions. Do you have children? How many? What are their ages? Where do they live? Where do they go to school? I don't think they asked about my parents. They asked me where I live myself, and then they asked me for my social media details. Give us your X account, give us your Instagram or Facebook and Instagram. I tell them I don't have those. And they say, are you sure? If you lie to me, I said, no, I do not have them. So the guy says, now, if you ever come back to Tanzania, your children, you will be in trouble. So they leave. I ask if I can sit where I can lean on the wall, and they say, yeah, they aid me to sit where I can lean against the wall. And now that car that brought us drives off. I mastered its sound, and we stayed there with, I think, two men guarding. They kept moving around. You could hear the footsteps, but they also kept coming to me to talk to me. Agatha, how are you? By this time, they all know my name and they speak it in that accent of Tanzania. Agatha, how are you? You have children. I cannot count how many times that question was asked to me in that night. So I think every guy that would come to me and ask how I am and if I have children. So at some point, they come, and one of them comes, and they ordered us to sleep because maybe now it's like 11 midnight. They ordered us to sleep on that rough, dusty floor. But my entire body is aching. I cannot sleep on this arm. I cannot sleep on this arm. I cannot sit on my butt. So at some point I lay down, and one of the guys came and asked me if I have socks. I said no. And then he went and brought a cloth and put it on my feet and said in Swahili, but something I understood to mean that mosquitoes would bite me. And all this is not making sense. And I'm thinking, are these guys normal? You just took me through the worst pain ever, but you're worried about mosquitoes biting me. But what also I had asked myself earlier when they were hitting me is, where do you get that anger? How do you manufacture anger to do that to someone you've never seen? Well,
Yeah.
but I think this question is answered now when they're treating me nicely. It is answered by saying that for them, this is not personal, it's a job. Just like I have to explain to politicians here who say I fight them that it's not personal, I'm just doing my job. In fact, we could even be friends. So I think even them, they look at it as a job. And after they have done their job, there's no need to treat you badly anymore or rudely. But I was told that was only for me. For Boniface, they continued to treat him very, very badly. So anyway, we are told to sleep. That's the longest night of my entire life, because for me, I couldn't sleep at all. Bonnie could have dozed off, because remember, for him, he hadn't even slept the previous night. They had come to take him at midnight or 1 a.m. So maybe the sleep could have overpowered him, and whatever it was, whatever pain, whatever discomfort, he still slept. I didn't sleep at all. I kept wondering, I kept thinking, I wonder what time it is now. I wonder what time it is now. But also you are worried. You are not sure that they have stopped there. Whenever someone would step coming towards you, you think something worse is going to happen. The torture. But then at some point, I would lift off my the blindfold a bit without them noticing, to see where we are. That's when I saw that it's like a basement parking that is very rough and whatever the ground, but had many cars parked there. Some looked like they had been parked there for a while. So I saw a bit of that, and of course they would come to check if you can see. They would come and adjust the blindfold all the time. So it finally, the morning finally came. This whole night, I wanted to go and pee, but I didn't know who to ask. I was so afraid, so I had to hold it for as long as I could. So the morning came. Some of the people returned. They had in the night, I think, left only two, or they would alternate. Maybe in that on that building they have somewhere where some would go and sleep and come back. Because like I've told you, you'd tell that a new person had come, because a new person would come and ask me if I have children. So towards the morning, it started raining so heavily, and now I get more scared that now possibly the rain could worsen the situation, and the morning doesn't save us like I had thought it would. So in my mind, I still do not know how far they are going to go. In my mind, I thought we were going to be taken back to that police station, because that's where they had told the lawyers to find us in the morning. I thought we were going to be taken back, would be reunited with our colleagues that were with, or be taken from the police station, be taken to the airport. I was very wrong. The morning came, these people came back. I asked to, no, before that, two people came and told us to get up and and exercise our feet and move, and step, And I think that's when I realized how badly injured we were.
Wow.
We couldn't. For me, I held onto the wall so that I don't put any pressure on my feet. But Boniface was forced to move around the room, and I would hear him groaning in so much pain. But then there was something I couldn't avoid. I couldn't cheat my way out of. So I now badly wanted to go to the bathroom. By this time, that woman had also returned, the woman on the squad. So I asked to go to the bathroom. And I couldn't walk to the bathroom. At some point, I had to just crawl on that dirty ground because my feet just couldn't walk. And that's when I shed a tear. I had not wanted those guys to see me crying. So that pain, it was now worse than it was in the night. I get to the bathroom, and it is this toilet where you have to squat. Oh my God. I couldn't squat. 5 months later, now I cannot squat. My feet still hurt. So now imagine a day after. I couldn't squat, but I wanted to pee so badly, and I said, what the hell? I'll just stand and pee. If I pee on myself, it won't be worse than all the dirt I have on myself anyway. I just peed, and the woman took me back. So the woman comes with you, opens the door of the toilet, and that's when she removes the blindfold when you are inside. And she waits at the door. And that's how my life was for the next 5 days or 4. I think 4.
And
So
were they torturing you every day for the 5 days?
No, the torture happened, the physical torture happened only once.
So it was now just mental torture?
Yeah. So they take us back, they bring us tea, black tea and donuts, and I didn't want to eat. I wasn't feeling hungry at all. So I told this guy that I don't eat donuts. And he said, okay, you take tea, you need some energy. Like I've told you, this time they're behaving like normal people.
Wow.
You take tea, you need energy. So as he's trying to give it to me, he said, be careful, it's going to burn you. So indeed, because I am trying to get a cup without seeing, it pours a bit on my hand, and he takes it back. I think he pours in it cold water to cool it a bit. And he brings it back. So the tea, I didn't have excuse not to take it. I didn't want to attract any more wrath from them. So I took it. Now at around, which I think was around 9 a.m., they come back. One man orders Boniface to come with him, and then the woman orders me to come with her. And they are taking us back to that toilet was the same as a bathroom to take a shower. They say, you bathe and we go. By this time, they have my bag that had been left at the police station. So they went back to the police station and came with our luggage. So she comes with my bag to that bathroom, orders me to bathe. There's nothing like bathing. Your body, you cannot lift an arm or a hand. Everywhere is sore. So I just entered and just poured water and told her that I was done. She took the clothes I was in. I didn't know they were taking them to throw them away. And then she handed me my bag to pick fresh clothes there. So I did. Now, what she couldn't take were my shoes. I was wearing these shoes that are called pumps, where you slide in your feet. And now those shoes were no longer fitting me because the feet were swollen. The only other pair of shoes that I had in my bag as she's asking me to get another pair of shoes were high heels. Now, she's the one who said you cannot wear those. Me, I thought they were better than this shoe where my foot can't fit. But the foot could not enter even quarter of it, even like part of my toes. So I had to just skip with those. I think they wanted to throw them away as well. The only thing of mine they didn't throw away was my bra and the shoes. So I had, even if my feet wouldn't fit, at least they would, drag them. Or also they knew that whenever I recover, whenever my foot can fit in, I would need some shoes to go home in. So now after that, they ordered me to enter into the same car. I could tell its sound. And I thought I'd entered the same car as Boniface. So we enter the car and they drive off. So I am thinking they're taking us back to the police station. And then they drive off for an hour. And I said, no, it wasn't this far. And last night there was traffic. Now there isn't. It was driving so fast, like breakneck speed. So now I start to think that they are probably taking us to the airport. And then when another hour passes, I said, no, even the airport is not, the airport in Dar es Salaam is near the city. So another hour passes, and I am wondering now where they are taking us. Now that's when the psychological torture becomes worse.
You'd heard so many stories of people that were abducted and never seen again.
Yeah, I had heard them, especially in Tanzania's case, because I follow the stories written by Maria Sehai, who is a journalist who has to live in exile, but she always would write a story about someone abducted.
That was Agather Atuhaire, a Ugandan lawyer, journalist, and human rights defender. Please look out for the fourth and final part of Agatha's story, this where her captors take her on her final journey.